Greetings, Japan fans! Today's show, we're looking at feedback. Maishu, arigatou gozaimasu, and welcome back to the 9th year of the Leadership Japan series. And I'm your host in Tokyo, Dr. Greg Stroy, your corporate coaching and training guy committed to your success. President of Dale Carnegie Training Tokyo, Japan, and the 3-time best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery, Japan Business Mastery, and Japan Presentations Mastery. My new book in Japanese, Za Eigyo, is available on Amazon. We are broadcasting around the world from Minato-ku in the center of Tokyo, the leadership capital of Japan. This podcast brings insights, examples, and experience about leading in Japan. And trust me, it is different here. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your family, friends, and colleagues. We are not being sponsored by Libsyn, but we value your privacy, which is why we have our podcast hosted by Libsyn, who, unlike many other podcast hosts, have a strict policy that does not allow access to your private information by anyone. Here is our daily podcast lineup on iTunes. Mondays, the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. Tuesdays, the Presentations Japan series. Every second Tuesday, the Business Tatsujin no Oshie Show. Wednesdays, the Sales Japan series. Thursdays, the Leadership Japan series. And every second Thursday, the Business Pro Podcast Show. Fridays, the Japan Business Mastery Show. And Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews. Before we get going, today's handy Japanese phrase is Nande shiteru no? Nande shiteru no? Nande shiteru no? Which basically means, very informal language, of course, never use this with a client, but it means, how did you know that? For example, if you're telling someone something and they go, they already know about it, you're a bit surprised, like, Nande shiteru no? How come you know about that? Why do you know about that? Nande shiteru no? Nande shiteru no? Nande shiteru no? This is episode number 455. Today we're talking about providing constructive feedback. Giving feedback at any time about performance issues is always fraught. Providing constructive feedback is one of those areas which we often dread, only surpassed by the prospect of having to give negative feedback. Ideally, we can avoid negative feedback altogether and turn it into a more positive version. Nevertheless, those on the receiving end of anything but adulation and lavish praise are rarely in a positive mindset about receiving corrective feedback. They are keen to justify what they did, sometimes deny it was their fault, or try to wriggle out of it and shift the blame to someone else. It's extremely rare for someone to put their hand up and take ownership for problems. What can we do about giving feedback? Here are 9 ideas on giving better, positive feedback. Number 1, be certain the feedback is positive and constructive. Don't boost your own ego or pull an authority power play of blatant status affirmation by putting down others less knowledgeable or less skilled. When someone is struggling with performance, recall what you were like at the same age and stage. As we get older, we conveniently forget that we had to make a lot of mistakes in order to learn the best way of doing things. And we didn't know everything, although we probably thought we did. Also remember, everyone is watching you. So if you push the blame for a project failure onto the delegate of your delegation, they will not be motivated to receive delegated tasks in the future. If you beat people up, metaphorically speaking, then others will feel fear that they might be next, and this lowers the morale, loyalty, and engagement rates. Number 2, be open to input and feedback from the team member. There are many paths to the mountaintop, and we should accept we don't have a monopoly on the approaches available to us. The obvious way of doing things is a sum of our own singular experience and knowledge. It is always a good reminder for me to be tolerant of other ideas when one of my team approached the task from an angle I hadn't thought about. Oh, so I'm not God after all, is what I remind myself when this happens. Number 3, we should be vigilant for major deviations and act on them immediately. If we ignore them, then explode with rage because of what happened, we are going to create bad relations with our staff and with the entire team. This is usually our fault anyway. How did it get to this point of deviation in the first place? Why weren't we making the time to be cognizant about the path being taken? Number 4, speak calmly and don't do all of the talking. Our first instinct is to tell them where they went wrong and to share our viewpoint on the problem. We do this because we believe it is the most efficient way of doing things. But is it effective? If we view the issue as something they can correct by coming up with a solution, they will be more encouraged to get to work on fixing it. No one likes being told what to do, but we all enjoy being asked our opinion on how to fix it. Find out more when we come back from the break. Our show today is brought to you by our public programs, but we also do custom-made in-house classes. Now, we do them in our super safe classroom, we do them live online, and we do them in Japanese, and we do them in English. Our show today is being sponsored on the 25th of March by Negotiations, Bargaining and Agreement. On the 19th of April, we'll be doing some course previews. On the 21st and 22nd of April, we're doing high-impact presentations. And on the 23rd of April, we'll be doing some of our professional ongoing education programs for our graduates. Our website is www.dale, D-A-L-E hyphen Carnegie, C-A-R-N-E-G-I-E .co.jp. You can email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. If you like learning by watching videos, then we have over 1,000 for you there at Tokyo, Japan, Dale Carnegie TV on YouTube. Get my best-selling books, Japan Sales Mastery, the Bible for selling in Japan, and Japan Business Mastery, as well as my new book, Japan Presentations Mastery. We release 3 TV shows every week on YouTube. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show, that's a premier business show in Japan, comes out Mondays. Fridays, we have Japan Business Mastery Show. Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews, where I interview leaders in Japan from SMEs all the way up to the corporate captains of industry on one topic, leading in Japan. Every second Thursday, we release the Business Pro Television. Don't forget, you can email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Welcome back. Number 5. Do not have any discussion about performance in public. Remember, everyone is watching how you handle problems. While it may feed our white-hot rage at that time to let them know they're an idiot, but in the long run, we are diminishing our ability to lead the team effectively. Number 6, start the conversation with a sincere compliment to set a psychologically safe environment. If it isn't sincere and real, it will trigger a negative response in the staff member because they see through it as a ploy, which, by the way, they interpret as an insult to their intelligence. We get things off to a bad start in this way. After the positive feedback on some aspect of their work, we transition to feedback using the specific word and. Never use but. As soon as we hear a compliment followed by but, we start mentally bracing ourselves for what comes next. It makes a world of difference to use and as the bridge. Number 7, we must separate the person from the issue. Their activity or behavior may be a problem, but they, as a human being, are not a problem. We only talk about the behavior and the problem, but not about them personally. Number 8, only if appropriate do we supply the next action step. If possible, it is better to have it come from their side because the ownership factor is much higher that way. Number 9, we started with some praise, and at the end of it, it is a good idea to repeat it and finish on a friendly note. Some people, hearing the feedback, will suffer a confidence crisis and believe they are useless. We have to encourage them that they can do a professional job going forward, and we are here to support them. Before we give the feedback, we should be clear about what we are looking at here. The issue can be clouded and confusing regarding the real problem. We need to have some sense of what the issue is before we start engaging with the staff member. We need to do our homework first. We can use the 4 problem-solving questions to provide us with more clarity before we go any further. Number 1, what is the actual problem? Number 2, why is this a problem? Number 3, what are some alternative solutions for getting around this problem? Number 4, which of the alternatives is the best solution? This helps us when we get into the conversation with a staff member. We can compare our understanding of the facts with theirs and also our contemplation of the solution with what they come up with. It makes for a much more positive and rich conversation. Thank you for joining the Leadership Japan series. If you found the program useful, then share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast. Take what you found valuable, immediately put into action, because idea application is what makes winners winners. Be one of them. Remember, I'm your corporate coaching and training guy in your corner, committed to your success here in Nippon.